Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome, Michael Childs here, and on this channel I give local insights about Temecula, Marietta, and the Menifee area. In addition to that, I also give real estate advice and different things related to real estate, staying in the loan, getting a house, purchasing, buying, selling, whatever you're gonna do. I give advice on that as well. So if you haven't or you're not subscribed, do me a favor, subscribe, hit the bell so you can be notified about some of the videos that I send out on a weekly basis. That way you can be educated and make the right decision for your real estate purposes in the future. Hey, welcome everybody. Today I want to talk to you about some of the mistakes that people make in the escrow process. So get ready, keep your pants on tight, and let's go. Alright, so now you are pre-approved and you're in contract. You're getting ready to move on to the next thing. What you need to think about is 8 common mistakes that people make while in the escrow process. So stick around to the end of the video so you can make sure that you get all 8, all of the information, and I'll also provide you with a link so you can download all these free tips and have them in a Word document for you to reference in the future. Alright, here we go. Number 1, do not have credit inquiries on your credit report. Now, I know I say that and kind of like aggressively, but this is very important so that way you guys can make sure that you can keep that loan going throughout the entire process. So those credit inquiries, if you do those, when the lender goes to qualify you, they see them. And it's okay, right? Because that's the pre-approval process. But during escrow, if you have new inquiries on your credit, which means like you're probably trying to get new credit or something like that, that could affect it negatively while you're in the escrow process. So avoid at all costs trying to apply for new credit while you're in the escrow process. Afterwards, fine. During, not so great. All right, here we go. Number 2, do not go out and buy a new car. That's a big thing because what it does is it messes up your debt to income ratio. So when you qualify for the loan, the lender looks at all the payments that you're making currently, and that's how they qualify you for the amount that you can make or that you can pay on the loan. So just be sure that you don't take away from that by going out and purchasing a car, putting a new payment on your expenses, and then you have to worry about that affecting your debt to income ratio, which could potentially stop you from getting the house altogether. So just make sure not to go out and buy a new car. That's tip number 2, guys. So tip number 3, what you have to make sure you don't do is go out and buy furniture. That's huge. If you go out and you buy furniture and something happens and the loan doesn't go through, then you potentially just have a whole bunch of furniture just kind of sitting there. Maybe you have to get like a storage or something like that you're going to waste money on because the loan didn't go through or it was delayed, or even in some circumstances where people go out and they buy furniture and they end up having it delivered on a certain day, but it can't be delivered because the house is not ready for them to move in. The loan hasn't funded and recorded, so they can't even move in. This situation is obviously a little bit different. This situation really focuses on not going out and buying furniture just because you don't know exactly, when the transaction is going to be ended. You don't know if there's some type of extenuating circumstances that might come up that might stop you from getting that loan or that house specifically altogether. So just be careful with that. Don't go out and buy furniture. Just be cool, be easy, and then just let everything go through. Once you get the house, I know it's a bit of a delay in you getting the house to exactly how you want it, but that delay could save you quite a bit of money, quite a bit of heartache, and quite a bit of time, which is most important here. So there's another lesson. That's tip number 3. Hey, what's up everybody? Here's tip number 4. Just making sure that you stay in the same job, right? So you don't want to quit your job or anything like that. You want to try to stay in the same job for as long as possible, or at least during the escrow process. And the reason for that is because the lender is qualifying you based on you being in that job for 2 years or having 2 years of income. So if you change the time frame or change your occupation or totally go into a completely different field, then the money or the income that they were using to qualify you for your debt to income ratio and all that good stuff, once they put all that into play, they won't be able to use that income. So you have to be very careful. And if you're going to switch jobs, if you switch jobs, let's say you stay like in the medical field or something like that, you switch from one medical job to the next, the salary is comparable and you don't have anything to worry about there, then you don't have anything to worry about there. But a good rule of thumb, as has been said,
video. If you have any questions, just give your lender a call, give your agent a call. He can reach out to the lender, or you can reach out to the lender directly and ask them the question on if it's a good idea, if it's okay, is it going to affect the loan, so that way we can make sure we get you guys through to the end. So number 4, I hope that helps. Stay tuned for the next tip. It's coming up here in the next couple of seconds.
Number 5, everybody. Hey, so when you come into the transaction, you have a certain number of credit cards. You have a certain number of expenses and finances that come in. Kind of the moral of the story of this whole thing is don't change anything. When you come in, you get pre-approved, and then you get set up in the contract. That means the expenses that you had, if they haven't made any conditions or anything like that, that's okay for you to keep everything exactly the way it is, and then just move through the loan process until everything is said and done. Okay, so just don't take your credit cards, don't close any, because that could potentially hurt your credit in the future or during that time frame during the escrow process. After you get done, if you want to do that, that's totally fine. What a lot of times people like to do is they take these high balance credit cards that have lower interest rates, and they will transfer a whole bunch of credit cards over to that high balance credit card. However, that will and could hurt your credit score and could stop you from getting that home altogether. So avoid that. That's tip number 5, everybody. Hey, the one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about before we go any further is this video helping you, right? And if it is, then if you could just hit a like, give me a thumbs up, put a comment in, emoji, whatever you want to do, and let me know if this is helping you out, this is educational, you get some of the information, and it's helping you not to make mistakes in the future for purchasing a home. Thanks, guys. All right, everybody, next tip. Here we go. Hey, so just make sure in the process of escrow that all your payments are taken care of. A good rule of thumb here is to probably try to take your credit report, pull it from one of these different credit agencies, all 3 of them I recommend. You pull it from all 3 and just make sure that you look on that thing to see if there's anything that you forgot about. Maybe you haven't set up an automatic payment, whatever the case may be. You never know what could happen, so just make sure you don't miss any of those bills. If you miss a bill and you get a late payment on your credit report, it could potentially lower your credit report or lower your credit score 20, 40 points, and could take you out of contention for being pre-approved or approved for the house altogether. So just be careful with that, and just make sure that that's not something that's going to stop the process of you getting your dream home. All right, tip number 7, ladies and gentlemen, make sure not to move any money. If you move it, just make sure you have a paper trail for exactly where it's going. So like cash, for instance, that's a big thing that lenders look at when your money's moving from different directions, all different locations, and that's protection that's in the process or that's been put in place as a result of things that happened in the past. So just keep good track of all your money. Try not to move it at all unless you've been told to do so by them, especially in large sums. Just make sure that they are aware of what's going on, and if you want to move something or something you need to do, just talk to your lender and let them know exactly what you plan on doing to make sure it doesn't bring any alarms to them during the escrow process. If you make sure that you do these things, it will make things run a lot smoother, and you won't have anything to worry about getting to the end of the transaction or the journey. All right, number 8, here's your last and final tip for this video. Hey, the reserves that you have in the bank, meaning if you have a large sum, whatever the thousands of dollars that you have, 100,000, 200,000, whatever the case may be, just make sure you don't spend a lot of it, right? A more realistic number might be 20,000 or 15,000. If you spend 8 or 9,000 of that money, that's considered you spending your reserves. So keep that money, keep that account at that amount until the end of the process, right? And again, like I said in the last tip, if you want to spend some of that money and maybe your lender hasn't told you specifically, hey, you need to concentrate on keeping this amount of money in the bank, just call and ask, send an email, text message, and then just reach out to them and see if it's okay for you to spend whatever amount of money that you're going to spend. So just keep all those things in mind. The other thing, reserves, closing costs is another thing that you have to worry about. Now I know closing costs is kind of like the unicorn of everything, and with those VA loans and the different loans, FHA, conventional, CalVet, all these different things, VA funding fee, all these different fees that are associated with it, escrow, title, all those things are different. I'm doing a video here in the near future that explains closing costs as well. But specifically for this video, the closing costs could be potentially what is going to come from those reserves that you have. So keep that in mind. Keep that money in the bank. Ask some questions to your lender if you need to figure out whether you can spend that money or not. And ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Hopefully this was not painful and you guys learned quite a bit from this. Please subscribe. I have more videos coming your way. I'm going to be super active with getting these videos out there so I can educate people to give them as much information so they don't make any mistakes or the least amount of mistakes in the escrow process or in the home buying process or whatever you want to call it process, the least amount that they can do in a negative way as possible. So hopefully with my help, we can make everything a smooth transaction for you, a smooth journey, and it be a time that you can remember from all positive notes and no negative notes. So this is Michael Childs. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless all of you.